You feel the pull of something darker, a force that whispers in the cracks of your ambition. We will show you 12 different types of shadows from Jungian philosophy, related to hierarchy systems, but it's deeper. It's the twisted mirror of Jung's soul, sharpened by Connor Neal into 12 figures who flirt with power and peril. Each archetype wears its own scars. Ruler's iron grip, rebel's burning rage, sage's cold detachment. These blocks of identity aren't simple labels, they're fault lines, ready to cleave your light from your shadow. These are tools to self-reflect for you. Comment down which one resonates with you or needs refinement. Chapter 1. Connor Neal's Sage, the lie in your logic. Do you feel a constant itch to know the truth, yet restless because you never feel you know enough? No one tells you this. Wisdom can be a burden. Perfection is an illusion. Rigidity breeds discomfort. You've digested Connor Neal's words. The sage seeks pure truth, but truth can become a blade that cuts you deeper than the world ever could. He procrastinates everything, struggles to make decisions. Neal defined the sage as one who seeks pure truth, noble, delusional. Ancient Stoics saw the trap. Epictetus warned, it's impossible to learn what you think you already know. Yet, you hoard knowledge like armor, terrified to step onto the battlefield of action. Nietzsche cut deeper. If you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss gazes also into you. Your obsession with truth is just a shield against uncertainty, and uncertainty is life itself. Modern psychology tears this apart. The Dunning-Kruger effect 1999 proves the ignorant are blissfully confident, while experts drown in doubt. You, drowning in data, paralyzed by nuance. Studies on analysis paralysis, Schwartz, 2004 show more choices breed more regret. Your pursuit of pure truth. It's procrastination wearing a philosopher's robe. Machiavelli would spit on your hesitation. The innovator has 4 enemies, all who have done well under the old conditions. Truth without courage is a museum piece, dusty and dead. Stoicism demands more. Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. You recall Jung's insight, the sage fears being duped or ignorant, but that fear can freeze you in place, trapped in analysis while life speeds past. As Epictetus urges, wisdom isn't just gathering facts, it's living them. If you never act, your knowledge becomes dust in the wind. He admits, fear of error outweighs hunger for impact, so he stays behind the curtain, safe but invisible. You are not just a thinker, you are the seeker. You must ask, will you let truth be your prison or your liberation? Every insight demands application. Let your wisdom breathe through your actions, not suffocate in your mind. Chapter 2. Connor Neal's Ruler, the poison in your crown. You crave order, you demand control. Connor Neal's ruler archetype burns in you, that need to structure chaos, to command the room. But listen closely. Your throne is built on knives. Every decree you issue, every boundary you enforce, it doesn't prove your strength. It exposes your terror, the terror of losing grip. You've heard Neal's warning. Unchecked power breeds decay. Still, you wonder, what distinguishes a leader who inspires from a tyrant who crushes? Neal defined this archetype as the compulsion to control and order. Sound noble? It's not. History's greatest tyrants, from Caesar to corporate overlords, all worshipped this illusion. They called it leadership. Stoicism whispers the darker truth. Control is the mask of the desperate. Marcus Aurelius warned, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. But the ruler, Neal's ruler, twist this. He demands control over others, to silence the storm inside himself. The Stanford Prison Experiment, 1971, proved this sickness. Ordinary students handed guard uniforms became monsters in 48 hours. Why? Because the ruler archetype, untamed, is a cancer. It feeds on dominance. It confuses fear for respect. Machiavelli saw it clearly. It is better to be feared than loved. But he never told you the cost. The moment you choose fear, you chain your soul to the dungeon floor. Connor Neal pinned the ruler to control and order. But you know real rule thrives on shared purpose. You must ask yourself, when the cheers fade, will the structure stand? Chapter 3. Neal's Innocent. The Curse of Your Blind Light. You've read Connor Neal's take. The Innocent embraces optimism and naivety, driven by a simple faith in goodness. He wakes each morning convinced the world will deliver only kindness, terrified that a single misstep will unleash punishment, trapped in a cycle of self-doubt. Ever plaster a smile overwrought? That's the innocent's poison. Connor Neal calls it optimistic and naive, but you're not hopeful. You're comatose. Your relentless positivity isn't courage. It's a surrender note to reality. Stoicism doesn't flinch. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane." Your forced sunshine is nothing but insanity. Nietzsche saw through you. Hope is the worst of evils, for it prolongs the torments of man. You cling to rainbows while ignoring the storm flooding your basement. Your optimism isn't innocence. It's cowardice with a clown mask. Psychology backs the slaughter. Barbara Held's research 2002 exposed toxic positivity, the tyranny of good vibes only. It gaslights pain, suppresses growth. You call it staying bright, but your light blinds you to wolves. Machiavelli's The Prince coldly states, "He who believes that new benefits will cause great personages to forget old injuries is deceived." Translation: your naivety invites predators. The innocent archetype isn't pure, it's delusional. Studies on avoidance coping Souls and Fletcher, 1985, prove optimism without action worsens trauma. You're not healing. You're burying wounds alive. Stoicism demands radical honesty. See the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. Ask yourself, when you ignore darkness completely, who are you betraying? Yourself, your pain, your chance to evolve. Stop painting graves gold. True strength stares into the abyss without smiling. The innocent doesn't transcend suffering. It becomes its accomplice. Rip off the mask. Let the storm carve you into something real. Chapter 4. Connor Neal's Explorer. The Prisoner in Your Path. Seneca urged, "A ship should not ride on a single anchor, nor life on a single hope. You must anchor your curiosity with purpose, not drift in winds of impulse." He strides into uncharted terrain, believing that the universe itself gives him permission to do anything he wants, like he is someone special. Convinced that stillness equals stagnation, you crave the horizon like a drug. Connor Neal's explorer archetype pulses in your veins. That relentless itch to cross borders, chase peaks, escape the cage of the ordinary. But here's the rot in your wanderlust. Every boundary you break builds a wall inside your soul. Neal defines the explorer as one who ventures beyond boundaries. Romantic lies. Nietzsche saw the truth. Whoever fights monsters should see to it that he does not become a monster. And if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss gazes also into you. You think you're seeking freedom? You're feeding an addiction to emptiness. The more ground you cover, the more you hemorrhage meaning. Psychology guts your fantasy. A 2010 study on novelty seeking proved chronic explorers suffer higher rates of dissociation. You're not expanding, you're fragmenting. Avoidance coping explains why running is just another form of hiding. Machiavelli's warning in The Prince cuts deeper. Mercenaries are useless and dangerous. They have no other passion for war but a little money. Your passion isn't discovery. It's cowardice disguised as courage. Stoicism strips the delusion bare. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can a man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." But explorers, they trade inner peace for cheap thrills. The mountains you climb, the oceans you cross. They're mirrors reflecting your refusal to face the battlefield within. Ask yourself brutally, when you stand on a new summit, why does the void still yawn in your chest? Because you've mistaken motion for purpose. Exploration without integration is self-sabotage. You're not discovering, you're disintegrating. The true frontier isn't out there. It's the shadowed terrain of your own unmapped psyche. Stop licking horizons. Dig where you stand. Chapter 5. Connor Neal's Creator, or the Artist, the Cage You Build. This is something no man talks about. Freedom is a lie. Ever stared at a blank canvas, a silent screen, an untouched block of stone, and felt that gnawing hunger to make something? That's Connor Neal's creator archetype clawing at your ribs. You want to innovate, to build, to leave your mark on the void. But listen to the silence beneath your ambition. You're not building monuments. You're forging your own chains. Welcome to the dark side of the canvas. Neal called this force the drive to innovate and build. Sounds divine, doesn't it? Like Prometheus stealing fire. But again, Nietzsche saw the trap. He who fights monsters should see to it that he himself does not become a monster. You're so obsessed with creation that you've forgotten why. Is it for legacy? For validation? Every stroke of genius is just a scream into the abyss, and the abyss screams back. Modern psychology confirms this. Studies on creative obsession, Kaufman, 2012, show creators often tie their worth to output. No masterpiece. You are worthless. That's not art, it's spiritual slavery. Machiavelli would smirk at your naivete. Men are so simple of mind that they who deceive will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. You're deceiving yourself. Sadly, sometimes, your Sigma grind, your relentless hustle, just fear wearing a crown of thorns. Stoicism slices through the illusion. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing." You're dancing for an audience that doesn't exist. Creation without purpose is vandalism of the soul. Ask yourself, when you sculpt that idea, who's holding the chisel? Your intuition, or your desperation to prove you're not ordinary? Stop building altars to your ego. The creator's curse is mistaking motion for meaning. You don't own creation. Creation owns you. Shatter the hammer. Walk out of the workshop. Breathe. That's true innovation. Chapter 6. Connor Neal's Rebel, the Slave in Your Revolution. You smash statues, burn flags, spit on tradition, but it's not Zeta. Connor Neal's rebel archetype howls in your blood, that raw urge to challenge the status quo. But here's the joke. Your rebellion is a script written by the very masters you hate. You're not free. You're a puppet, kicking against strings you refuse to cut. Stoicism detonates your fantasy. Epictetus warned, "No man is free who is not master of himself." But you let your enemies define you. Nietzsche was right once again. Whoever fights monsters should see to it that he does not become a monster himself. Your rage against the machine just oils its gears. Machiavelli was colder. The reformer has enemies in all who profit by the old order. You're so busy screaming at their profits, you've bankrupted your soul. Psychology eviscerates your posture. Reactance theory, Brehm, 1966, proves rebellion often stems from threatened autonomy, not conviction. You don't stand for truth, you kneel to ego. Studies on identity foreclosure by Marcia in 1966 show rebels cling to opposition as a crutch, avoiding the harder work of building something real. The rebel's tragedy, mistaking destruction for creation. You torch palaces but live in the ashes. Marcus Aurelius sliced through this. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice. Yet you mirror your oppressors, just with a different uniform. Ask yourself, when you rage against the system, who's holding your leash? The tyrants you fight, or the void in your purpose? Rebellion without reconstruction is tantrum theater. You've swapped golden handcuffs, For rusted ones, true defiance isn't tearing down walls, it's planting forests where walls stood. Stop performing revolution. Start building sovereignty. Chapter 7. Connor Neal's Hero. The blood on your armor. You strap on your armor. You sharpen your sword. Connor Neal's hero archetype beats in your chest, that savage need to fight adversity bravely. But here's the wound you ignore. You're not slaying dragons. You're addicted to bleeding. Neal's hero fights adversity bravely. Noble, toxic. Nietzsche saw the trap. He who despises himself nevertheless esteems himself as a self-despiser. Your valor is vanity in disguise. You chase battles to feel heroic while avoiding the war within. Suffering means nothing if it serves no one. Psychology disembowels your martyrdom. Don't believe me. Believe science. Adversity addiction. Studies by Duckworth in 2016 link excessive grit to diminished empathy. Martyr complex. Research by Scott in 2019 shows self-sacrifice often masks control issues. The Stanford Prison Experiment. In 1971, Redux shows hand a man a shield, and he'll invent enemies. Stoicism hammers the truth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to not be like your enemy, but you become the monster you fight." Your Zeta struggle. Your prime dominance. It's trauma cosplaying as strength. Epictetus warned, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." Your reaction. More suffering, more battles, more bloodstains to polish like trophies. Ask yourself, when you bleed for glory, who's drinking your pain? Your ego, not the world. The hero's curse. Mistaking endurance for purpose. You survive storms, but never build shelters. Sun Tzu's Art of War delivers the kill shot. Supreme excellence lies in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. Stop romanticizing struggle. Courage isn't a wound. It's the scalpel that cuts out decay. True heroes don't seek wars. They end them. Your armor isn't steel. It's a cage. Shatter it. Chapter 8. Connor Neal's Wizard. The curse in your illusion. Do you feel a hidden force stirring within, urging you to bend reality to your will? You've read Connor Neal's tag. The wizard transforms with magic. But true transformation isn't illusion. It's alchemy of the soul, reshaping the mundane into the miraculous. He studies ancient texts in candlelight, means esoteric magical YouTube videos from under his blanket, terrified that his power will slip away, convinced that only extraordinary feats prove his worth. Yet Plato's cave screams the truth. We can easily forgive a child afraid of the dark. The real tragedy is men afraid of the light. You trade truth for tricks. Nietzsche saw the rot. All things are subject to interpretation. Whichever interpretation prevails is a function of power and not truth. You remember Jung's insight that the magician archetype risks losing touch with humanity when knowledge becomes a weapon rather than a gift. He hoards secrets like treasure, blinded by the lure of hidden truths, while his empathy withers in the shadow of his intellect. Epictetus teaches you, wisdom without virtue becomes vanity. You must ground every spell of change in humility, not hubris. He dazzles crowds with spectacle, craving applause more than real impact, mistaking flashes of wonder for lasting growth. You are not simply a conjurer. You are the catalyst of metamorphosis. Ask yourself, will you let power corrupt your vision, or will you wield it to illuminate paths for others? Every incantation you whisper shapes not just the world, but your own heart. Transform boldly, but let compassion guide your magic. Chapter 9. The Jester. The cracks beneath your mask. Do you ever feel that spark in your chest, begging you to crack a grin when the world grows too heavy? You've seen Connor Neal's take. The Jester brings light through humor, but humor isn't just punchlines. It's a weapon against despair, a mirror that reflects truth cloaked in laughter. He cracks jokes at every gathering, terrified that stillness will expose his hollow core. convinced that levity masks insecurity. You recall Epictetus' warning that pleasure unchecked becomes bondage. Yet laughter can sharpen the soul when wielded with purpose. He dances on the edge of absurdity, avoiding depth like a jester dodges stones, turning every serious moment into a carnival ride. You remember Nietzsche's jab, "He who cannot laugh at himself is without humor." You must laugh, yes, but also face the pain beneath the smile. He floods the room with antics, craving applause more than connection, while genuine emotion retreats behind his mask of gags. You are not merely a clown, you are the poet of paradox. Ask yourself, will you hide behind humor, or will you use it to illuminate the shadows? Every laugh you spark can awaken wonder or mask despair. Choose your wit like a surgeon wields a scalpel, precise, profound, unforgettable. Chapter 10. The Everyman, the Cowardice in Your Camouflage. Do you ever feel the urge to blend in, to share the warmth of belonging when you see others unite? You've read Connor Neal's note. The everyman relates through belonging, but connection isn't mere attendance. It's the courage to show your cracks in a circle of trust. He smiles at every gathering, afraid that standing out will draw scorn, convinced that anonymity is safety. You remember Aristotle's idea that man is by nature a social animal, yet fear of rejection can cage you in silent conformity. He follows the crowd's rhythm, drowning his true voice in chorus, while authentic bonds slip through rehearsed pleasantries. Marcus Aurelius urges you, be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved. You must anchor your place not by mimicking others, but by holding your ground. He swaps opinions for nods, losing himself in the echo of agreement, while his own vision shrinks to fit the group's shape. You are not just another face, you are the bridge between souls. Ask yourself, will you mute your edge for comfort, or will you show your true colors and invite real unity? Every handshake you offer can forge solidarity or spark curiosity about your story. Belong boldly, but let your authenticity be the bond. Chapter 11. The Lover, the Chains in Your Embrace. You think love sets you free. That's your first lie. Connor Neal's lover archetype beats in your chest, that desperate hunger to connect via emotion. You crave fusion, to dissolve into another. But Nietzsche saw the truth. What is done out of love always takes place beyond good and evil. Your passion isn't transcendence, it's surrender. You've mistaken drowning for depth. Stoicism strips romance bare. Marcus Aurelius warned, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, yet you let others' emotions pigment your soul. Machiavelli was colder. Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims for his deceptions. Your vulnerability, a predator's playground. Psychology confirms the rot. Attachment Studies Bowlby, 1969. Anxious attachment masquerades as deep connection. The Stockholm Syndrome Paradox. Hostages bond with captors, just like you bond with toxic love. Codependency Research, Wegshitter, 1985. Emotional fusion breeds resentment. You don't connect, you colonize. Your empathy is covert control, a demand for validation dressed as devotion. Epictetus scalped this illusion. Freedom is secured, not by the fulfillment of desires, but by the removal of desire. Yet you gorge on emotional dependency, like a starving man on ashes. Ask yourself, when you suffocate someone with affection, who's really gasping for air, your abandoned self. Stop confusing intensity for intimacy. The lover's tragedy, worshipping the cage because its bars feel like arms. I am not demonizing love. It's the best emotion. The problem is dependency. Not even that, just the amount. Sun Tzu's Art of War delivers the cure. Victorious warriors win first, and then go to war. Win your sovereignty before embracing another. True love demands to whole people, not halves bleeding out. Chapter 12. The Caregiver, the coffin you nail shut. You give until you disappear. Connor Neal's caregiver archetype bleeds from your hands, that raw need to nurture without question. You call it compassion. Nietzsche called it corruption. The surest way to corrupt a youth is to instruct him to hold in higher esteem those who think alike than those who think differently. Your nurturing isn't kindness, it's control in a saint's disguise. Stoicism doesn't bow to your martyrdom. Epictetus demanded, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. You skipped the first step. You exist only through others' needs. Marcus Aurelius was colder. You've no time to waste on making others admire you, yet you trade your soul for their applause. Psychology flays your sacrifice. Pathological altruism from Oakley in 2012. Your selflessness triggers the same dopamine as a gambler's high. Resentment metastasis from Harburg study, published in 1973. Unspoken rage festers when care goes unreciprocated. The Florence Nightingale. You subconsciously keep others broken to feel needed. Machiavelli's The Prince dissects benefits should be conferred gradually, and in that way they will taste better. You drown them in devotion, they choke. You call it love. It's emotional vampirism. Ask yourself, when you bury your own needs to resurrect others, what grows from that grave? Silence, rot, the ghost of your abandoned self. Sun Tzu's final truth. Supreme excellence is breaking resistance without fighting. Real care empowers. It doesn't cripple. You keep breaking your cup to water their deserts. A dead tree shelters no one. Stop digging your grave with their shovels. We've discussed over-empathy in another video. Watch that video, or watch this one. YouTube chose for you. Thanks.